The Edmund Burke School in Northwest D.C. will remain closed today. The closing comes just days after a gunman fired shots from an apartment building nearby and wounded 4 people. The shooting on Van Ness Street was one of several violent incidents we've seen in the past several days. Metropolitan Police Chief Robert Contee joins us live this morning to talk about that and much more. Good morning, Chief. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So we talked about the several shootings there. Just off the top here, I want to ask, are there any updates specifically when it comes to the Van Ness shooting and the shooting at the Peruvian ambassador's home? Anything in terms of motive for either one?
No, we're still working through that. Obviously, we have to dig in a bit with family members, social media, computer devices, that kind of thing, to really kind of get to the bottom of why we had these 2 incidents. We know a little bit more than what we knew on Friday night, but again, the investigation continues. They're both still ongoing investigations.
For the Van Ness shooting, do you know, I know you're saying you learned a little bit more. Do you happen to know whether or not Raymond Spencer was legally allowed to have those weapons? It
appears that the firearms were purchased legally, yes.
Gotcha. And I know the mayor had mentioned on Friday, I believe, that she believes the ability to easily obtain weapons is behind at least one of the reasons that we're seeing this uptick in violence. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we see in some instances where people are able to easily purchase firearms. But, you know, we also have individuals who are purchasing ghost guns. And I think that is an issue as well. We've seen a dramatic increase in the number of ghost guns that we recovered off the street. The Metropolitan Police Department, so far this year, we're almost at 1,000 illegal firearms that have been recovered off of the streets of the District of Columbia. That's over 200 illegal firearms where we were at the same time last year when we had significant recoveries. So, you know, there's no shortage of firearms out in the streets, a lot of illegal firearms that we're seeing, but our members are working very hard to remove those from the streets of the District of Columbia.
Sticking with crime, violent crime, as you know, has gone up 25% compared to this year, compared to this time last year. Since Friday, 8 people have been wounded, 2 of them killed due to gun violence. Aside from, you know, as the mayor said and you mentioned, the fact that it's pretty easy to obtain these weapons, what else do you think is behind this spike that we're seeing, particularly this year?
I think that, you know, there are a number of things there. I also, you know, just want to highlight, you know, while we are, you know, talking about this, a spike, you know, essentially we're seeing the exact same amount of people shot this year as we did last year. Our homicides right now, we're down 12%. Any one homicide is one too many. We've had 52 homicides in the District of Columbia. Last year, this time, we had 59 homicides. But we have the same amount of people that are being shot. And that's the thing that's disturbing, because that's a matter really of marksmanship. You know, a bullet to the left or a bullet to the right could be the difference between someone losing their life. But when you talk about all of the things that have happened, you know, really since the pandemic, and just kind of, you know, some of the attitudes that we see, you know, people involved in minor traffic disputes that result in someone being shot, or in some instances, like we've seen in one of the neighboring jurisdictions, someone losing their life as a result of a simple traffic dispute. So why are these things happening? You know, it just speaks to the mindset of some of the individuals that we're dealing with in community right now.
Yeah, on that note, and that's an important distinction you made in terms of the homicide numbers this year compared to last year. But on that note, in the case of the intruder at the home of the Peruvian embassy, his girlfriend, the suspect's girlfriend, says that he was having a mental health crisis at the time. There's been a lot of discussion really around the country when it comes to mental health and having kind of a separate response team when it comes to that. Do you believe that that's necessary, and would that have helped in that case?
I don't think it would have helped in this case, because at the time that the Peruvian ambassador's residence was being burglarized and the windows were being smashed out, I don't think that anyone knew at that moment that a person was experiencing some type of mental health episode. I mean, while, you know, certainly we can kind of Monday morning quarterback that, I don't think that the Secret Service members, and certainly the family who was being terrorized at that point, I don't think that they knew that. I think those things are helpful, but I think taken in context, you know, every situation is different.
Gotcha. Switching gears here, we've been talking about carjackings, which has been another problem, and then particularly juveniles, teens being behind carjackings. We know that D.C. police detectives on Sunday arrested a 15-year-old boy behind 3 carjackings. The mayor has had programs set aside to kind of address the youth involved in some of these crimes around the city. How effective do you think that'll be?
Well, I think we have to keep at it until we're starting to see, change in our young people. We can continue to arrest. We locked up a 13-year-old a couple of days ago that were involved in more than 10 carjackings and robberies. Again, those are all very disturbing statistics. And I think that, we're in a space where we can't give up. Failure is not an option. And we have to, as a city, we have to continue to focus in on our young people, whatever it takes. While accountability is a part of it, opportunity is also a part of it. And we have to make sure that we're doing all of those things to give our young people the best chance. And when I say give them the best chance, sometimes that is tough love. And when they have demonstrated that they're not capable of operating in community in a position where people do not have to fear for their safety because of some of their actions, we may have to take a different course of action with our young people. And we have to keep striving until we get that right. When
you say that, just to be clear here, are you saying they should face harsher punishments in terms of the consequences of their actions?
I'm saying that we have to find a punishment that changes behavior and whatever that punishment would look like. And right now, for some of the young people that are out there, the punishments that are in place may not be changing behavior.
Lastly here, they're wrapping me, Chief, but I do want to ask you, I know there's a press conference set for later today with Mayor Muriel Bowser. Anything else we can expect to come out of that in terms of any updates or announcements?
Yeah, we'll talk some more about some other initiatives that we're doing, especially in terms of collaboration with our federal partners. We're doing some great work, and we're looking forward to working very closely. Our continued relationship with FBI, ATF, DEA, and some other things that we're doing here in the District of Columbia to keep our city safe.
All right, Chief Robert Contee, I know it's been a busy few days. Appreciate you coming on and speaking with us this morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, 8:35 is your time.